And we're live. Way too early,
Hey, hey,
but we couldn't resist.
way too early. So yeah,
Yeah.
fun things are
So
happening in the
now
last two
Golden
minutes.
Golden Goose can't say anything now. We're 13 minutes early. But
Mm-hmm.
we're actually I'll do this. This is happening right now. That's why we're gonna jump on and go live. Um, so yeah, things are. We were just talking about how boring everything is and nothing is happening. Um, and then this started happening, so we were like, oh, let's just go live, whatever, let's go. So currently Bitcoin is dumping. Everything else is dumping with it. The only ones I can actually see myself, like, because I don't really have that much in my watch list, but Ethereum is down 3%, Bitcoin down 3.4%, Solana down 6.5%, GRT is down 10.4% today. And we're seeing some pretty heavy volatility here. It's some wicking going on, so we might see a move up here. But this is the 1 minute scale, so it doesn't really matter. It's just noise. But zooming out to the daily, which is where we want to be, we've got something like this.
Yeah. So let's see what happens over the rest of the last few hours of this day, because
yeah,
if it it is still a higher high, but it is a break of looking like a break of what is a pretty well-defined trend line now. But it being a diagonal, we could kind of play around with the zone and just make a new flatter range.
I'll do something like this. This is on the daily close right here, and basically right here. And this is the line to hold, I suppose. If it was going to bounce really close to where it is right now, that's where it would probably do that. But it's like we said last week, right? We were talking about how we were expecting to see some kind of move back down into to retest this range as support. Looking at where it was before as support, as resistance, and now we haven't actually retested this range anymore yet. Sorry, but we kind of want to see that happen. Question is, when is that going to happen? Like I think we discussed last when you couldn't talk, Rob, you were nodding, I guess, when I was talking. From the little you could hear me say,
about 4% of the words.
Yeah.
But it was nice to know that literally nothing has happened since then. So,
or what's happened since then is exactly what we said would happen short term, at least. And I mean, when was that? That was on Monday. That was on this red candle. We were seeing the exact same kind of size of a red candle.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny that we've looked at it twice in the last 2 weeks on these dumpy candles. But what we can say from that behavior is lower highs, lower lows over the last 2 weeks. So or last week and a half. So as it stands, this is this is getting close to reversal. If it pops below this current, the white line you've drawn, that's a reversal top, isn't it?
Yeah, but still with potential support close by. So
of course
we asked for.
Well, yes, but that's what we. This is then. This is the kind of as we keep saying that with whenever even if it's going to break bullish, it's likely going to break bullish on the back of a dump. Bitcoin's so regularly takes out its previous low before it then goes on to make a high. Just as it did back in earlier in the year, before we had that stupid giga pump, we had this one last flush to get out all of those late those late shorters those late longers, get them nice and liquidated on the fear before you then pump it exactly where you said it was going to go.
Nice and liquidated on the fear. I love that. So true.
It's literally. I mean, it's quite funny when we were talking about sort of the FTX and Alameda sort of nonsense, and the Caroline talking about saying how she doesn't use stop losses, and everyone was like kind of laughing, and I was like going, my trading success increased significantly when I stopped using stop losses, because we're in a market which is at times very, very illiquid, and they hunt stops. They go hunting for where you place your stop loss, and I don't really want my stop loss hunted. And so
Yeah,
if you are,
exactly.
as long as you are diligent on, where, if you have a clear invalidation of the setup, then yeah, I tend to prefer not to use stop losses, but I also tend not to make stupid trades anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. We did get a little bit of a comment here from Golden Goose. He said 27,200 is the area to look out for. I mean, that's right here. That's literally where we put this line. So you're right. I would
Well
agree
done.
as well.
Flippy can read the number we put up.
No, we actually put it on
Together.
27,100,
Okay.
but yeah, the range, as
Is
you
there.
said, it's right around here. It's such a small, like this looks like a, but essentially
It does look on the verge of
that
being dog shit. This is bounce or dog. Well, as he said, dog food. I'm saying dog shit. I guess
yeah.
they're the same. They're the same thing, just a day or so apart.
I mean, looking at this, like first of all, let's break this down just real quick. This is the 4-hourly chart, right? A little bit more zoomed in, a little bit more flavor, right? And we're currently looking at the price sitting on where the previous bottom was. Like this, yeah, this is a bottom, but the bottoming where it bounced properly. We are in a downtrending. We have a downtrend here. Now this line is kind of dead. As long as this candle closes below there, this line is dead. This trend line. And just looking at the volume is ramping up on the way down as well, but the RSI on the 4-hourly is getting, it's oversold. So we might see some kind of...
That's in our favorite zone. That is my favorite buy indicator. Really, is the 4-hour RSI for a very. If you're going to give one, when's a nice time to add a little to the pot? I mean, you can just see it. It's right there on the chart in front of you.
Precisely, it was right here. This one is right here. It's not on oversold.
It didn't,
but it still gives, but it's not on oversold, but it also shows you that this would have been a better place to buy, which it shows up as oversold. So, like buying here, I wouldn't do that either. Even if it's like close to oversold, it's like, well, it's created a lower low now, so just wait, patience. But yeah, honestly, guys, like everyone who's watching right now, we literally, for me, I've had almost zero time to look at the charts this week at all. I literally sat down half an hour ago and just looked at it and said, oh, okay. and honestly, it's playing out the way we thought it would. And it has been ever since we kind of started doing this this show, right? And again, if this line holds here, then we're confirming that we're still range bound, basically. Yep. But if it breaks this, we're gonna have to go down here. Like there's nothing here in between.
No, there is nothing at all.
Nothing. It's just nothing, right? And so it makes sense that we would retest this, and it it actually makes sense that we retest this as well. Maybe not, as early as I think we're going to retest this before we retest this one, the trend line before we retest the Fibonacci level. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the Fibonacci before we retest the trend line. Sorry.
Yeah, it adds up. It lines up. So.
Yeah, and I mean, just going over, like, everything. Like Ethereum is still kind of sitting on that fib level right here. Ignore all these old lines. I don't remember making them. Solana is super range bound for 114 days, I think, or something like that. Oh shit.
Oh shit. Oh, he's technically issued. Has he messed up? What have you done? Come on. Yeah, well, I can't even just put my screen on. Unless he does want to put my screen on, if he can hear. but nobody knows. I don't know if you can hear it now. There you go, you can hear. There you go. We'll talk about what Golden Goose mentioned then. Pepe clogging up everyone. Hey, he's back. Yeah, I just thought I'd address what Golden Goose says, a knock-on effect of the Pepe transaction clog. Well, like generally those high periods of stupid high gas activity, they should be good short term anyway for the ETH price, because there is that huge oh my god, I need to buy ETH so I can participate in this mint, or and so the number of ETH transactions goes up, and with only so much liquidity available, if that's in the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars very briefly, then that should cause a spike up in price more than anything. And we've not seen much spike since like the 5th of May, so I don't know. I think all the people that are buying Pepe probably are already in. There's not much new money. This is just money that's been waiting to find something stupid to buy, and they found something sufficiently stupid, and they bought it. And it's probably going to make them millionaires, because we are in a ridiculous market.
I mean, let me just hop over to my screen for just a second, just because you mentioned Pepe. This is Pepe on BitGet. This is the oldest chart I could find. This is the daily. Ignore the Bollinger Bands here. Well, ignore that they look like that. I'll turn off the log scale. But It's like, okay, do you think it's like, you have the initial guys selling off right here, getting down here, and then maybe they rebuy some here, or maybe they have some still left, and then they wait for this giga pump, and then they dump it all here, and then we see this stuff people are trying to buy in to see how it's sliding across here. It's like it's gone. It's dead now. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna go up again, but like
I'm gonna if you just flip over to my screen a second, I'm gonna give you. I always have the same thing. If you're gonna mess with stuff like this, buy it when it's at an 80% discount. That's like the perfect sort of buy zone is about 80%, and that would line up rather perfectly with there. So it's going back to there. I have an awful lot of confidence that it's going somewhere back to that kind of price, and
maybe much lower.
Maybe much lower, but even if it does, it's got meme potential. It's had a successful launch. Its market cap is what the bloody hell is the 723 million, which
gosh. I remember looking at that and I thought, oh, I kind of like Pepe. Like, I like the frog meme thing. I think it's funny. Like, I just think it's funny. And I know the Golden Goose loves that thing, because the only fucking emoji he does is stupid
little shit
face. Yeah.
Just little shit.
Hey, I'm not dissing your meme skills. Golden
I'm
Goose.
dissing his meme skills.
I'm not. I love it. But like, if you're gonna buy, I was actually thinking, I had like, some like reward dollars left on my Pionex account, from other people trading from my referral code, and I was like, Pepe, they listed it, and I was like, maybe I'll just toss in like $30 just for fun, and maybe that would have been a good trade. I don't know. I don't even know when it was.
This is
one of those things you can't look at it as you can't look at something like Pepe as like, this is going to be a long-term investment for me.
It's a hot potato. It's a game of it's past the parcel.
Yeah,
and at some point the music stops, and if you're
holding it, you're done.
No, well, that's it. Just treat it as what it is, which is a gamble. It is a gamble.
Yeah.
If you can see it as, I'm participating in this, knowing that there is a high likelihood that I'm the one that ends up getting trashed. You take profits, you get yourself to net zero as soon as possible. This is the sort of thing where if you buy it and it very quickly doubles in price, sell 50%, just get half of it gone. It owes you zero, and then that's it. Okay, now you have a pot to play with, and you leave that alone, or you wait for it to stupidly pump and just DCA out of it slowly. And if it goes to zero, then meh. So
well
anyway, let's just leave it there. Go
Yeah,
away.
yeah. Let's
Be gone.
not
Be
talk
gone.
about Pepe anymore. Now, I was just gonna zoom into what we started with when we started the show. We were looking at Bitcoin doing
A
this thing,
wee.
and now
Yeah.
it's doing this thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So this would be nice to see. If this just pumps straight back up into the range, this will be the kind of behavior that we see before it actually does start to break up. And it would be
Yeah.
incredibly typical if it just spends a few hours sort of ranging here, or even say till Monday or Tuesday, and then it just goes, whoop, nope, see you in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So what it's doing right now is, I think it's a lot of scalpers. They kind of look at this and they use Bollinger Bands and SRSI maybe. Where is it? And it's like, okay, no, it's gonna go back down a little bit to retest this and just keep going. Uh, like we might as well just see some kind of weird movement, and then when we look at the 5-minute scale, as soon as it hits the Bollinger Band, it's gonna turn back down again. It could be something like that, you know. If we're looking at a longer term downtrend, it's gonna start building into those like higher time frames, 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour. Everything's gonna try to move into that to get above the Bollinger Band and get above the middle of the RSI, and all the MACD stuff has to turn and everything. So at this point, like I tend to kind of wait for confirmation at least on the 1 hourly before I say, oh, okay, trend is reversing. Usually it's on the 4 hourly, but at this point, I mean, that hourly candle is looking pretty bottomy at this point.
Well, that is if that can ideally, if it can close green, then I mean, obviously it is quite a new candle, so there's 40
Yeah.
minutes of it left. But
Yeah,
yeah, if that closes green, then it'll be an interesting few hours. I think that's I wouldn't really want to preempt it. Yes, it would be a very nice candle, but we've just broken below this, what is now a long support line. How long is this going back till? It goes back all the way to June, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So last time we broke this trend line, we broke it bigly. So
yeah, let's just see exactly what we mean here. I mean, this trend line is the one you're talking about, correct?
Yeah. So when we broke up, we broke up, and we've then held above it for a significant amount of time. So we should. These trend lines, like they're not so much a big deal to break, because if we break, we'll likely just trade sideways and come up and retest it again. And having broken it multiple times, then we'll likely break it, and it would lead to a decent pump up. But short term, then these diagonals can be pretty hairy and lead to some pretty shitty rejections.
Yeah. I think this is why both you and I both prefer horizontal resistance and support lines. I mean, for me, even more so the fib levels that I don't have to make my own horizontal line because it's already there, and it's been there since the 10th of November 2021. That line has been there, and it's been holding up. And so I really want to see, maybe next week, maybe this week, towards the weekend, we'll see something where we get, if we break this white line here, we might see us getting close to kind of this territory. But at that point, once we're there, RSI is going to be oversold for sure. I mean, last time it was oversold, we were looking at this here. I'm not going to say it's going to bounce from that like this, but it's certainly not going to dump a lot further, when we're already on oversold. You know what I mean? But again, it all depends on the macro, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's so much uncertainty now with nobody knows what the Fed is going to do. And I don't really think that people care that much. People are kind of just screaming at them now to pause, basically. And then we're going to see the inflation here coming in on Wednesday. We're going to see the numbers, and I don't think they will matter that much. I think it's time to stop looking at the CPI and start looking more towards the core CPI, because it seems like that's where it's kind of stagnating now. And what the move is on the core is going to be more important. What the move is on the consumer price index. The regular one. That's just my take on that. I'm not sure about you, Rob. But I feel like that's more.
I think so. My take on it is flogging a dead horse at this point. I'm expecting inflation to continue on the downwards path over the next few months, to the point where it's going to drop below it's going to drop below the Fed funds rate. Right, so we are going to have, according to the CPI figure, real properly positive interest rates for the first time since 2008 or 2007. And essentially that is kind of nonsense that we have positive real interest rates for the first time since a period when the economy was arguably the best in human history, should we say, in terms of like where things were kind of at. Things and where things are today, the debt is much higher, the sort of the growth level is not there. There's not any in order to sustain high interest rates, you need a growing economy. You need a really consistently growing economy, because you need to justify those interest rates. The average amount of money that people are borrowing, if they're getting charged 5% on it, they need to grow their business by something close to that. The overall GDP needs to reflect that increased amount of borrowing and the value of that interest rate. And right now, the economy does not support the valuation of sort of 5% interest rates. They just don't. We've spent a decade at 0%. You can't just flip back and go, oh yeah, those interest rates that we could support 15 years ago when we had half the debt or a third of the debt and nowhere near as much of the same economic and demographic and supply chain and just a whole heap of crap that's going on everywhere.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense. It has to go back at some point. So we know whether it either goes back with them gradually acknowledging, yes, we've tightened too far. Yes, we need to ease off, because otherwise we're going to really fuck shit up. But more likely, they go, no, everything's fine. We got it. Oh, shit, everything's broken. And so ultimately, we know which one they're going to do, because it's the same one that they do every time. And I'll be able to go back and say, if you want to watch this video from January 2023, where me and Phil told you this exact thing would happen.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to bring this up now that we're on I just want to bring up the Fed funds, the Fed fund rates. Obviously, we were talking about how this was gonna get broken really early, like when we were down here back in like a year ago. We were talking about how we were going to shoot through this thing. I think Rob was the first one to mention that, and then
first one in the world.
And
we'll
definitely.
I mean, it's not true, but things don't have to be true.
We'll pretend until we succeed. But so we did measure out this before at some point, and the last time from where we started in June of 2004, they started raising the rates, and when we were back to like zero or back to where it needed to stay, it was 1,644 days. The next time it happened, it was 1,613 days. So if we were to kind of just for fun pull this out, oh crap, this is gonna be long because it's weird, but essentially, because it goes into months down here.
We'll put it back into because you're on the daily chart. Put it on the monthly chart and it'll fix.
Oh, maybe yeah. So right here we got over 1,600 days. If we do the same thing, let's put it to 1,611. This is how long it's going to take before we're down at the bottom again, maybe. And that would be July 2026. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I do think that when they start cutting the rates, it's gonna be the market is gonna start moving before that happens, I think. because I think the assets move first, and then real estate is lagging and all these things. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, really.
Pretty
But
much.
it's a fun thought. It's a fun thought to kind of pull that out.
Well, it's. See, this is the kind of what we don't know. What we don't know is what's going to happen after we have this drop in inflation and after inflation bottoms out, because there may well be a secondary wave of inflation through some means, a collection of things that happen that go, oh, actually no, it's just going to bounce right back, and that can happen. And
like
if that happened, and we had essentially what would be a stagflationary period where we enter actually into a recession, and the inflation level starts rising, and because of that the Fed really do stick to their guns and hold interest rates higher, which would prolong the recession, but it would maybe lead to a healthier economy coming out of it. Now that does then point out, how much pain are these people willing to put the economy under in order to do maybe what should be done. But it's this is the kind of, it's funny that seeing the those who are sort of Austrian economist type people going, oh, look at the state of the economy, it's because of the monetary system and the stupid interest rates and how the Fed could have controlled and destroyed everything. And then when the Fed raise interest rates to combat inflation, they go, what are you doing? You're destroying the economy. You can't support these higher interest rates. And it's like, well, which one do you actually want? Because the Fed are doing what they should do according to their mandate, because they have two mandates: one, combat inflation; two, control unemployment. Until unemployment starts to substantially rise, they by their metrics, by their level of success, they have not broken the economy yet.
No.
Now, although they're breaking the economy globally, and they're breaking it in other countries, and that is going to have severe long-term knock-on effects. As it stands, if people aren't losing their jobs in the US, then inflation's all that matters.
I think
they're doing the job.
I think something we're going to have to talk about on Saturday if we do a live. I think we should be able to do one, right? I don't think I have anything planned that I need to do.
I'm
maybe Sunday. Maybe Sunday.
I'm with family on Saturday, so I just don't know what time I'll be back.
Well, either way, we're gonna start running this off. But I wanted to say that I think the subject for this weekend, which is Sunday, is gonna be the whole macro thing, right? Really digging into some stuff, because we're looking at. I saw some numbers. I don't have them now, unfortunately, because
bad numbers are bad.
Yeah, but the GDP in Europe was for 3 quarters now. I think for Q3 last year it was 3.something%. I'm just going to say 3 point something. Then Q4 was 2 point something.
Yeah.
And then they were expecting it to be 2.0 for Q1, but it was 1.1. So we're seeing massive GDP, like
now again,
degradation.
So what we have to bear in mind, though, is that a lot of that was because of the energy rises. Now we are starting to see that completely about turn, and that is something that we'll start to see a real drop in inflation, as essentially Europe
energy goes back to normal.
Doesn't need gas over the summer, and then we'll see coming into the winter this time round how prepared the European countries actually are, because last year, we have to remember the reason. Go on.
I was going to say, and that's what we're going to talk about on Sunday.
Yeah,
not
but
now. But yes, keep
well, no,
going.
it's just it's a basic point. One reason the oil and gas price spiked so high was because Europe was collectively shitting it and stocking up. And if you've got suppliers, but you bear in mind a lot of these suppliers, I know, say here in the UK, like they are obligated to provide a service. Like that means that it doesn't matter what the gas price is, they have to buy it. There is no such thing as oh well, if it's too expensive for you, don't buy it. It's a free market.
exactly.
You have a choice. It's like, no, I
need
have
it.
to purchase this gas. I cannot not buy it. And so if everybody, all it takes is a small increase of 10 or 20 of the richest nations on the planet collectively going, oh shit, we need to stock up on this very limited resource that nobody can provide us at the moment. And so what happens to the price when somebody tries to stock up on a very limited resource?
Yeah,
the price spiked. That shouldn't happen again. That was a supply shock which should not be able to happen. It shouldn't be able to happen again, because they now have a whole year to prepare in advance.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons to why people like Bitcoin so much, because supply is scarce. Supply shock is probably coming, especially around the halving event in 2024, around April, I think.
August, I think, is the current timer.
14th of April.
Does it come up? Oh, right, nice. That's earlier than last time.
As far as I can.
Well, fair. I will bow down to your.
Yeah. Don't argue with me on this one. No, I'm kidding. Please do. But yeah, so we'll do a pretty big chat on Sunday.
9th of April, 336 days.
Yeah,
So
last time I checked it was 14.
How the fuck is it less than a year till the next halving?
It's kind of mad, and I'm just waiting
for your first halving, isn't it?
Oh,
you weren't around in 2020.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I came in like just after. No, that's true. All right, okay. Well,
it is only my second one, so.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's a competition. Do I get a medal if I? Well, actually, I think everybody who survives a bear market like this one should get a medal.
Yeah.
Like I survived 2022, 2023.
I've done 2 tours now. Like I want the full like 2018 and 2022.
The stripes and the stars on the shoulder and shit. All right. I'll get you that.
Metaphorical scar on my face. I've seen some shit. I can't go back. I can't go through it again.
PTSD from.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Post-traumatic shitcoin disorder.
Post-traumatic shitcoin. Okay. Cool. That's cool. Okay, we're gonna end it here, guys. Sorry for that last bit. That was just weird, but that's the way we are. So I'm not gonna apologize for that.
Don't fucking
we're
apologize.
Weird. Get over it.
That was gold. That was us at our best.
This is the way we are. Just accept us or don't. It's all good. All right, cool. So we're gonna finish here, guys. Remember, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Tell everybody you ever known, especially people that you've never met. Go and run up to them and tell them, these guys. Listen to these guys.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Everything these guys say is completely and utterly perfect. Even if they're wrong, the world changes the wrong to a right, because they've said it. That's so okay. That's it. So it's just no bullshit.
We're so basically, we're just manifesting the crypto future right here on this
exactly.
channel. Yep. And any viewer can join us on this party.
And I'll prove it too. Tomorrow, Bitcoin is either going to be higher or lower than it is now.
Big call if true. That is a big call if true.
Mm-hmm. Put it in your notebooks. All right, cool. See you next time on Sunday. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.